Hi guys, this is Dormouse03.
And I'm Iron Praetorian.
Welcome to another Ramblings of Mad People, where we're going to talk about the stuff and things that we have done gaming-wise over the past couple of months, because it's been a couple of months since we last recorded one of these.
Indeed. So, a good portion of our time during the last 2 months was taken up by a little competition that was on a website that Dormouse and I used called True Achievements. And it was called the Alphabet Challenge. And the Alphabet Challenge basically consisted of you trying to get 26 achievements, each one for a letter of the alphabet, sequentially. You didn't have to get like an A achievement and then a B achievement. You could get some different letters in between those two, but it wouldn't count the ones in between as part of the challenge. So you had to kind of be quite savvy about which achievements you were unlocking in case you unlocked one of the rarer ones early, like an X or a Z or a Q. So it took a little bit of planning, which was cool. And it also made me start a few games that I wouldn't have started otherwise, which I thought was quite cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I started a few things that I probably wouldn't have started either. I think I played 5 in total, and you played 6.
Yeah.
In total for the Alphabet Challenge, which is actually quite low. There were some
Compared
people
with a lot
who had a lot of people played 12, 15 games. Some people played 1 game for each achievement, which was kind of mad. So people had fun with it, and I thought it was a cool little thing to do because everybody could compete, and it wasn't one of these elimination things where, you know...
Only a select few people get the badge at the end because they got first, second, or third.
Right, or only a few people can even participate past a certain point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So... that was cool, and you had to kind of plan things out so that you made sure that you didn't pop your S1 before your R1, or God forbid your Q1 before it was time to get the Q1, and so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so you and I were frantically looking through our lists of games going, okay, we've got A's, we've got B's, C's, I need an X from somewhere, so I decided to buy the Witcher 3 Game of the Year edition because it has a Xenonaut achievement in it. So I was like, okay, I was going to get the Witcher Game of the Year at some point anyway. So I was like, I might as well get it now so I can complete the Alphabet Challenge.
Mm-hmm. And I started 2 games with gold that I probably wouldn't have started at that point. In order to do them, I started Defense Grid 2 with the X achievement for...
Xenocide.
Xenocide, yeah. And I also started Earthlock. We both started this one, Earthlock Festival of Magic, for the Z achievement, which
and
was
we haven't played
called...
since.
Yeah, we haven't played it since, which was called Zabirum Seeker.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
And so, whatever that means. And so, so we both started a couple of things. I also ended up buying the Enslaved Odyssey to the West DLC finally, because in that DLC there was a Q achievement, quadruplets, and in the Pigsy's Perfect 10 DLC, which was fun, and I enjoyed playing, and was happy that I finally got around to it, and also that I hadn't gotten around to it yet, because I got a Q.
And I got my Q from Lego Star Wars, which surprisingly had like 3 in it.
Wow.
Yeah, there was one,
cool.
There's like quick draw, which was to shoot somebody who's going to shoot you as Han Solo. And then, I can't remember what the other Q1, like the name of the other Q1 was, but it was for like dumping garbage on someone.
Nice. So yeah, we got a bunch of things. What were the games that you ended up playing in order to get your Alphabet Challenge done?
I played The Witcher 3 Game of the Year Edition, Just Cause 3, Earthlock Festival of Magic, Minecraft Story Mode, Mafia 3, and Lego Star Wars, The Force Awakens.
Nice. And I got the majority of them in Mafia 3, and then a few in the Enslaved Odyssey to the West DLC. I got one in the fall, one in Earthlock Festival of Magic, and what was my other one? Oh, and a couple in Defense Grid 2 as well.
Yeah. And out of those, I've pretty much completed Mafia 3. I have completed Lego Star Wars and The Witcher 3. I've yet to continue through Earthlock, so I only have one achievement unlocked in that one, and I have like 7 in Just Cause, and there's 66 in that one. So I haven't really made much headway with those, but that's my plan for this month, is to try and clear up those games that I started to make some room on my hard drive for the autumn.
Yeah. And I completed the fall. I completed Enslaved, the DLC, and I completed Defense Grid 2, and I completed Mafia 3. And so the only one that I have left to do, I know, right? The only one that I have left to do from that alphabet challenge that I started is Earthlock, and I'm planning to do that one this month. So
yeah, we're going to race each other.
Haha. Yep.
I may not even get round to it this month, because that one at least is only a small download. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to check and see how. But yeah, it's only like 4.4 gig, so that one can loiter on my hard drive a little bit longer. Whereas some of the other things on there, they are definitely hogging the space.
Mafia 3's got a lot, and some of the other stuff that you've been doing has a lot. So anyway, it was a fun challenge. I enjoyed doing it. It got me to play a couple of things that I may or may not have played at that point. And it was interesting. You completed yours in like, I don't know, 6 days. It took me 20 or 21 days to get mine finished.
But whereas I was chopping and changing between games, you got the majority done in Mafia 3, and Mafia 3 does take an amount of time to get through, especially if you're listening to all the story content. So we might as well talk about Mafia 3, as that's one that we've both played.
We both played Mafia 3. I've finished all of it. You still have one more playthrough to finish.
But it's only 3 achievements in that playthrough.
Yeah, so we've done the vast majority of it. We've played all the DLC, and I really liked it. I thought it was a very, very good game.
The setting was good. The music was great.
Yes.
It's like set in 1968 New Bordeaux, which is effectively New Orleans.
Yeah. But it's like a fictionalized New Orleans, because they wanted to make up the gang activity, the mafia activity right?
They effectively did the old GTA thing where it's like Los Santos is Los Angeles, but it's just a different name, so they can get away with whatever they want.
Right. Exactly. But I think a lot of the racial stuff and just the way that the world worked is pretty close to reality.
Yeah, and it also had events that happened in history happened. So Johnson was president. Kennedy had been assassinated. There had been a Vietnam War, because the main character, Lincoln Clay, returns from the Vietnam War at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and so I think it had a good story. I liked the protagonist. I liked a lot of the side characters, so like Donovan and the Reverend.
Donovan was great. and Lincoln's relationship with Donovan was cool as well. Like, they had a good rapport with each other, and the Padre was trying to be like the voice of reason.
Right.
In the hopes that he could try and at least temper Lincoln on his path through the game.
Right. And so, basically, the protagonist he's half black. But it didn't matter if you were half or full, much like now.
You still get discriminated against.
You still get discriminated against. It doesn't matter. Like, if you have anything if you resemble being African American at all, you know, people just think you are. And so he was basically, he comes back from the war where he was defending our country and once again is treated as a second or third class citizen and gets back involved with some of the people that he was involved with before the war, and kind of chaos ensues from there, and he goes on this little revenge mission to take down the Mafia activity in New Bordeaux, right? That's kind of the setup.
That's the setup. And then you can play it like one of two ways effectively, so you can turn people to your cause or kill people.
Yep, or you can do some combination of the two, but...
Yeah, you can do any combination of the two, but...
Yeah, but for some of the achievements, you needed to play one way or the other. Yeah, pretty much. And so, yeah, I thought the characters were good. I thought the graphics were good. I thought the mechanics worked well. I thought the shooting was good, and I really enjoyed the stealth mechanics.
Yeah, the stealth mechanics worked really well. I also like the equipment as well, especially some of the DLC stuff. So you could get... There were these things called like screaming zombies, and they were like voodoo dolls that you could throw into the middle of people and use them as distractions. And as you allocate rackets and areas to different... You have like 3 main underbosses that you allocate area to, and they will unlock different upgrades. So like, there's an Irishman called Burke, and he's like more geared towards vehicles. Then there's Cassandra, who's like a Haitian. She specializes in weapon upgrades, and then Vito, who's like part of the Mafia but kind of got on the wrong side of Sal.
Right, so he's Italian.
So he's Italian, or of Italian descent. So, and he specializes in like health upgrades and stuff. So you can eventually get those voodoo dolls to be proximity explosives, which is just quite funny.
That's funny.
And they also set off smoke.
Yeah.
OP.
Yep, those were fun, and I loved the silenced pistols. So you could basically sneak around an area and then just like silence pistol people, and then do some like knife takedowns and things like that, and basically get through a whole area with 15, 20, 25 dudes, and no one ever saw you, and I love that.
Yeah, the only time they ever got alerted to me, most of the time, was when I was shooting their racket boss in the face, so that I could pull off the like B prompt to either spare his life or interrogate him.
And usually they were all dead by the time I went after the boss. So he would scream, but nobody was coming. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. There were some times I just went in all guns blazing though and tore people up and
yeah, I found with that it was a good way to get me killed, because even the easy difficulty on that, you really have to use cover, because those shotguns and some of the automatic weapons will tear you to pieces in seconds.
That's true.
With full health and full body armor. I
did find though that the blind fire was really good.
Yeah, it was.
And so if you got somewhere where people couldn't surround you too easily, you could sit basically in a doorway and blind fire everybody to death. So,
or throw a grenade down the corridor.
Or throw a grenade, or, do whatever you want. Throw some proximity mines at people. Hey, look, you're in proximity. Boom.
Yeah. It's basically a contact explosive at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I used them.
What you do is you throw one of the voodoo dolls, get 7 people going, it's a voodoo doll, and then I'm like, proximity mine.
Yeah.
Look, they're all dead.
So it was good. I enjoyed the DLCs as well.
So did I. There's one vehicle that you and I used quite a lot.
Nightcrawler, right?
Armored off-road, souped-up car.
Yeah, that one was cool. And each DLC kind of featured a different side character, and it was a different vibe, right? So, the first one was kind of Lincoln dealing with racism, and
like pure racism.
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
effectively an area that didn't want any black people in it at all and would go through any means necessary to dispose of them.
Right. And so that was kind of the first DLC. And then the second DLC was Donovan and doing some things for him that had to do with... Yeah, from his past that had to do with the war, which was cool. And then the third one, which is recently out, was the Father James, and doing some things. And it was kind of like a secret society... ritual murder type thing that you were investigating.
Sort of like hallucinogen stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like basically this secret society cult activity killings that you were investigating, and you were doing that in conjunction with the father, and that was cool.
And then once that part of the DLC is finished, you start renovating the place that you grew up in, effectively, and that becomes part of the DLC, which is cool.
Yeah. So
and then the first DLC also has you becoming effectively a weed peddler, and you can grow weed, sell it to certain areas of the city, and you can use hybridization to make your weed better, effectively, so you can make a ton of money.
Yeah, you definitely can.
It was a good way to make money. I can't say I care for weed in real life, but I'm in-game weed, money, okay.
In-game weed equals money, so...
And also the fact it had hybridization, so I was like, I like, science.
He likes chemistry. Anyway, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed the DLCs. I enjoyed the main story. I thought the way that they did storytelling was very cool. So
yes,
it kind of framed it with some flash forwards to kind of, I guess, present day. It was almost like they were making a documentary.
You could view it as flash forwards, or you could view it that the story is being told from the present, and the whole game is effectively a
flashback.
Back.
Yeah, pretty much. Both of those things
either way.
Mean the same thing. So yeah, you had the kind of present day time, and it was almost like they were doing a documentary, and they were talking to different characters who are still alive. And they were talking about the events of, what was happening, and then you would play the missions, and then it would kind of go back and forth. So I thought that was a cool way to sort of frame the story and give it some context, and for characters to kind of talk about how they felt about what was happening, which is cool. And then some of that stuff changed depending on decisions that you made to keep certain people alive or kill certain people, and there were a few different endings that you could have based on that.
I think there's 3, effectively.
Or probably 5, depending on which person is taking over.
Right, yes.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5.
So we're counting them up in our head. We don't want to spoil things.
No, we don't. So... We just want to kind of because I've been told off in the past, off recording, for spoiling things that we've had to delete. So I'm keeping my mouth shut this time.
Right. So anyway, I liked that. I like the game in general. I thought it was great. If you like story-driven, open-world games, this is a good one.
There have also been some funny instances with the driving mechanics where random things have happened that I've had to record because it's just been funny.
Yeah. I had one where my car was riding on top of another car.
I've had one where I'm driving down the road and then the cars spawn in, but they're in midair, and then a semi-truck just comes flying out of nowhere, flipping end over end. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go the other way.
don't
And
know
then
what
there's another
voodoo is
one.
happening there.
There's another one where I've gone around the corner too fast and hit the central reservation and done about 3 barrel rolls.
Yep.
And landed. 'Cause,
Nice.
you know.
Cool. So anyway, that's Mafia 3. What are some other things that you have done in the past couple of months that you wanted to mention?
So, before we started the Alphabet Challenge, I played Lego Marvel's Avengers. So it's effectively a Lego game, but it's based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is cool.
Yep. Did you have fun?
Yes, I did have fun. It was
Nice.
a Lego game. I generally have fun with Lego games.
Good deal. And it was Marvel Avengers. We like them, so yeah.
So it's basically all the events from the first Avengers and the second Avengers, split up into 6 levels for each.
Nice.
So,
cool.
yeah.
Very
Lego
cool.
game with Avengers characters. It's not in the same universe as Lego Marvel Superheroes, which is getting a second game in, I think, October or November. So I'll play that one, but that one follows on from a different universe. Because you know what Marvel's like with their different comic book universes, and some of these comics are in one and not another, and so on and so forth.
Right. Cool. Nifty.
And then I also played I Am Alive, which is like a survival game. It's an arcade title that was supposed to be a full game, but they, I guess, ran out of money in development or just wanted to get it out. So they ended up making an arcade game. It took about 12 hours to complete. And it's basically, I think it's like a future Chicago that's been buried by sand in some sort of, not apocalypse, but like...
Yeah, I think it is
Event.
apocalypse. It's an
Okay.
apocalyptic event. It's a post-apocalyptic type
Survival
thing,
game.
where survival game where you have all these dust storms and that kind of stuff. So
the mechanics work that you're given a gun and you're given a knife, and you basically want to conserve your bullets as much as possible. So when you get into combat situations, you want to make it so that if you're shooting someone, there's someone who has a gun, so that you can re-pick up the bullet that you used to shoot it. And then you also want to intimidate people with an empty weapon, so that you can get within melee range to attack them. And that's effectively how the combat situations work, is you working out, so this person I can sneak kill, but that'll alert these 2 guys, so I'll threaten him, shoot the other guy, and then knock that guy out. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. So you have to use the other mechanic in the game, which is continues. So you effectively have lives, effectively. But you pick them up and they're like little video cameras, because the story's told through a video camera that is picked up. So I like the fact that they did that. It's like the story's told through a video camera. Your lives, or continues, are effectively video cameras. So you can pick up video cameras through the game in certain locations, but you also get them by helping survivors. So there'll be certain items that people want, and you want to give them those items so you can get continues. And you're effectively trying to find your wife and daughter, is the premise. So you travel through different areas. There's also a fair amount of climbing, which brings another mechanic into it, which is stamina. So you have a limited amount of stamina that you can use, and once you've used all your stamina, you can basically do like a button mash prompt, but it decreases your maximum stamina. So you want to make sure, if you're climbing up the side of a building, that you find a safe point that you can stop at, re-get your stamina back, so that you're not using items to replenish your stamina when you could be more savvy. And you get a crampon, little thing that you can hammer into the wall. Limited numbers of those that help you, and they act as safe haven points.
Yep.
I like the style of the game, because it wasn't like a zombie apocalypse game. It was just a post-apocalyptic survival game for a change that didn't have zombies in it, which I thought was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I enjoyed that one back when I played it a while ago, and you used somebody's guide. I don't know who.
It may have been Dormouse03's guide. It was terrible. I mean, she missed so much out. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good guide. If you play that game and you want to get it done in one run, use Dormouse's guide.
Yay, plugs.
Plugs.
We also played a couple of card games.
Yeah, let's not go into that.
We played a couple of cards. They had a sale at some point.
They did.
And we got a couple of really cheap card games that we played with one another called Hardwood Hearts and Gin Rummy. And they were pretty fun, but Iron Praetorian did not have a good time because I kept beating him at Rummy, and he was very annoyed and kept blaming RNG when it's only partially RNG.
Yeah, it's 50% RNG, so I was losing half the time to random luck because I'd get in, have terrible cards, and you'd beat me in 2 turns, and there's no way you're that good to beat me in 2 turns.
Yep.
Without the cards helping you.
Yep. It was only the other 50% of the time that was skill. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would take that if I was winning at Gin Rummy. I'd be like, okay, yeah, there's some luck involved.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely luck involved. But it amused me because usually we're on the other end of things where I'm like, I'm not as good as you.
Yeah, so I decided to just play your part.
Uh-huh.
And be annoyed.
Yep.
And then we had Hardwood Hearts, which was fun, but for some reason my one decided to reset the achievement progress every time it got turned off, so I had to play it continuously.
Yeah, to get some of the achievements.
For like 7 hours.
It was dumb.
There were some good podcasts I was listening to.
Oh, man. Good deal. So that was those 2 things. Was there anything else that you played before the Alphabet Challenge, or are we into Alphabet Challenge stuff? Okay.
I mean, I replayed Oblivion for a little bit, just because I felt like it, but no achievements in that, so...
Nice.
Oblivion's a great game, play it.
Woot woot. Okay, so stuff that we played for the Alphabet Challenge. I completed a little game called The Fall, which was a short... I want to call it arcade title, but they call them ID at Xbox games now. And so it was short. It was like 3 hours, 2-3 hours worth.
You had to do 2 playthroughs, though.
You had to do a couple of playthroughs, yep. And
first playthrough takes like 3 hours. Second playthrough takes about 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically you're this little artificial intelligence that's inside of an exosuit, and you're trying to keep your person that's inside the exosuit alive, but you can't control some of the systems, and so basically you kind of have to put the person in danger in order for it to start turning on certain systems, because that's how it justifies being able to break its programming.
You're about to be shot. This would invalidate your safety protocol activating shields because it would kill your occupant.
Right, exactly. And so you got different abilities as the game went along because you turned them on by doing stuff like that. And it was kind of a little side-scrolling puzzle thing. There was a little bit of combat where you shot some enemies and stuff.
I would say the combat in that game was not the best.
It wasn't the best, but there wasn't a ton of it, and so that was okay. It was mostly going around and solving puzzles, which I really enjoyed. I loved the creative ways that you solved certain things, so it would be like...
It reminded me of like Tales from Monkey Island. Kind of point-and-click adventure. You have to find certain item in certain areas to use in other areas to get you through things, and it was just hilarious in places.
My favorite part of The Fall was where you were solving, because they had these little things where it was making domesticated robots, and you had to pass a test. You had to pass these little tests that showed that you would be a good servant for the humans, right? And there was one where it was to dust an area, but the place was so beaten down that there was so much dust everywhere that, and you don't have anything that you can dust with. But what you do is you take a plastic bag and you put it over the camera that has the sensor in it. And so it doesn't detect any dust in there. And then that passes the test. And I'm like, yes. So
and then there's another one that I liked that's like you have to feed the family, and it like has a protein detector, so you basically pick up some decomposing body part and put it on the table, and it's like protein detected. This would be nourishment enough for the family. Test passed. And it's like someone's decomposed head or something.
Right. Yeah, it was they were really funny. It had a nice sense of humor to it, and they're gonna have a couple more parts. I don't know if the second one is out yet.
It's on TA, but it hasn't got a release date as far as I can see.
Yeah, so they're gonna have a couple more parts to it, which should be interesting. So that one I enjoyed, and we'll probably play. I think I got it for like $1. And I think I'll probably play the others when they go on sale at some point.
For $1.
Yeah, for cheap.
For cheap.
Yeah. What was something that you played that?
The latest Minecraft update.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Minecraft updates are fine, but this one got a little bit irritating. There's certain achievements like you need to get a pair of Frostwalker boots so you can walk on the surface of the ocean. That one's fine. You need to kill an Elder Guardian. That one's fine. Then there's one like find 5 llamas and turn them into a llama train, and it's like, yeah, if I can get 5 llamas to spawn in one world, that would be great, but the 360 spawn rate is awful. So I spent about 7 hours, again, running around trying to get llamas to spawn, because if I could get 2 to spawn, I could breed them to make smaller llamas, and luckily the smaller ones count, because that's exactly what I did. I got 1 to spawn. 4.5 hours later, I got the second one to spawn. Then I bred them to make lots of mini llamas, and then I turned them into a train and dragged them around and got the achievement, and I was like, victory is mine, and I've just wasted 7 hours of my life on llamas.
Breeding llamas. Oh, man. Cool. So you did that. You also did another Minecraft thing.
Minecraft Story Mode. So that's a Telltale series that has 8 episodes for some reason. Not that I'm complaining, because I enjoyed them, but it seems like an odd number.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not really going to talk about that one because anything I say will be spoilers.
Right, yeah.
Because it's all story mode stuff.
Was it fun?
It was fun. You can choose to be a male or female character because your name's Jesse, so it's like either or, which I thought was cool.
That's cool.
So yeah, you're effectively trying to stop the world from being destroyed. I can say that much.
Nice.
With your friends.
And it's Minecraft.
And it's Minecraft. So you won't play it because you hate the pixelated effects of that game.
I do.
But I'm happy because the second one has come out. I'm not going to buy it just yet because it's only the first episode, I believe, that's out. I'm going to wait until it goes on sale like I did with this one.
Very cool.
And I will buy that then.
Nice. So Minecraft Story Mode. Done.
What did you play?
I played the Enslaved Odyssey to the West DLC, so it was this little story DLC called Pigsy's Perfect 10, and it was about one of the characters named Pigsy, who is from the main game, and it was a little adventure that he had trying to build a robot companion. And so he lives in this junkyard, and he was basically going to different areas of the junkyard trying to find pieces to make himself the like perfect companion robot. Aww. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody who may play it at some point. Because
that was one of the games that we recommended on our list of games to play.
Yeah, definitely. But I would say the DLC is worth getting. You know, even if you're not someone who manically has to complete everything like we do. But this one I would say is a DLC that you should probably play. I thought it was really like a touching little story in the end. It doesn't seem like it might be, but it really was. And some of the voice acting and whatnot is really good. Yeah, who's the guy who does Pixie's voice that you said you recognized?
I recognize his voice, but I don't remember his name. But he's a British.
Richard something, maybe.
Yeah, he's a British actor that's done some voice work in Fable as well, I believe. Mm-hmm. I also saw him in Macbeth, modern adaptation, but that was years ago.
Cool. So anyway, he does voice Pigsy, whoever that person is, and he's good, and it was good. I enjoyed it. You have a little grapple hook that you use to get around the levels, and you have a little rifle.
Richard Ridings.
Richard Ridings. Nice. So, Richard Ridings, you're cool. And you have a few different little upgrades that you can get throughout. So there's little like a stun bomb, there's an explosion bomb, there's a distraction thing, and there's another thing that like makes some of the enemy robots your friends for a few seconds, and so they'll fight the other ones for you for a little while, and you use the combination of those things to get through the different areas of the DLC. And it's pretty quick. It's only a few hours long, but it was fun and I enjoyed it.
He was a voice in Dungeon Keeper and Dungeon Keeper 2. That's another game I played that he was in.
Very cool. All right, what's the next one on your list, sir?
The next one on my list, if I can find the window, is Sonic. So Dormouse and I decided that we would get 4 Sonic games. Mm-hmm. You already had one of them.
Yes. Because
they were cheap and on sale, and we like Sonic because we used to play it on the Sega Mega Drive. Genesis, if you're American. Mm-hmm. So we had a bit of nostalgia fun with that, because I played all 4. I played the first Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. You'd already played Sonic 2,
yeah,
but you played Sonic 3.
Yeah.
Which you hadn't played before.
Right. And I bought Sonic 1 and Sonic & Knuckles, but I haven't played those yet. I played Sonic 1 and 2 back in the day on my Genesis Mega Drive, if you're not American.
4. Yeah. I've played all 4 back in the day, but I owned Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Sonic 1 I completed by cheating, because you could put a code in to get to the last level.
Yeah.
And then Sonic & Knuckles I only ever borrowed off a friend, so I never actually completed it. So this was the first time. Nice. That being said, I may have played them a bit on the Sega Mega Drive collection, or the Sonic Mega Drive, the Sonic Sega collection, I think it's called in the US.
Yeah.
Because that one had like those 4, and I think Sonic 3D as well.
Interesting. So yeah, so we had a little bit of nostalgia there. I did complete Sonic 3. I still have Sonic 1 and Sonic & Knuckles to go here at some point, but they're fun. I like them, and I do like the ability to save, I have to say.
It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Especially going for those Chaos Emeralds, because those mini games can be tough.
Yes, those mini games can be.
So the ones in 2, you have to basically collect rings on a circuit. Mm-hmm. You're viewing Sonic and Tails from behind, and then you have to jump through like rings of enemies or go around them, because each time you hit one, you lose 10 rings.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 sections. You have to have X number of rings per section, otherwise it fails you.
Yeah.
So being able to save before that definitely helps. And then Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, you have to basically walk across a bunch of blue orbs, turn them red, but if you walk into a red one, it fails you.
Right. And it moves faster. You're on this moving sphere, and it moves faster as you collect more and more of them, so you can get to the point where it's just moving so fast that you barely know what you're doing if you're me.
And then they add in jump blocks that are gold, which make it even more complicated.
Oh, super fun. So yeah, those parts are not.
And then the one from
fun.
Sonic 1 is a spinning maze, effectively, that rotates. Yeah. And you have to bang little blocks out to get to the Chaos Emerald in the middle.
Cool. So, we had some Sonic fun, and...
So that was 4 completions for me, which helped.
Very nice. I completed Defense Grid 2 with some help from you. We did some co-op together on that one, finally. It didn't
that
want
one
to let
has
us play together for...
very bad server support, sadly.
Yeah, it's just not super fun trying to match up and connect and get kicked out over and over and over. But we did finally manage to do it, and I enjoyed the campaign. It was a nice little tower defense thing where you set up your little defense turrets of various types and tried to kill all the little aliens before they stole your cores, and it had some cheeky little AIs that were talking to each other and that kind of thing.
It was cool.
It was cool.
And that's why I recommended the first one as like a hidden gem. Mm-hmm. The trouble with the first one is it has some DLC packs that are like too expensive.
Yeah.
But the base game was games with gold. So
nice.
Some people might have it on, having bought it and not played it.
Right. Yep. So if you want to check that out, then, and you like tower defense, or I don't know, I don't play very much.
You want to try a tower defense?
Yeah, I don't play very much tower defense games. But
Defense Grid 1 was the first tower defense game I think I'd played that wasn't on PC.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, it was pretty fun little game, and it helped me out with the alphabet challenge, which was nice, and it was free because it was games with gold. So yay,
victory all round. So the next game I played was Tachyon Project, which I bought for like $160, I think. Otherwise I wouldn't have played it. I was like, it's like a Geometry Wars kind of arena shooter ship combat thing. With a little story kind of mixed in. The story was okay, the combat was fine and fun for the most part, so I enjoyed that, blowing up a lot of little robots. Because it was effectively, you were like in cyberspace trying to hack into mainframes, and to get through the security system you had to basically, for whatever reason, fly a little ship and blow up stuff.
Cool. Things don't have to make sense all the time,
No, they don't. It's a game, it's fun.
It's a game. Fun. We can just play it. Very cool. The next thing that I did was also a little short thing. It was Telltale's The Walking Dead Michonne, and I really enjoyed it. It was shorter than most of the other Telltale games.
It was 3 episodes. Yeah,
it was only 3 episodes. But I really had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I really like Michonne as a character, and so it was fun being able to see some of her backstory and get a little bit more character development for her. And so that was cool. And I did like the little prompts it was basically prompt to kick ass, right?
Pretty much.
So hit this button. That
machete does some work.
Yep. Hit this button and she will machete things like no other. And that was great. So
there's this one character that you and I particularly disliked, and you were like, I probably shouldn't do anything to this person because there will be repercussions. And he said one line and I was like, oh yeah, he died. He was just gone. Like, after that line, dead man.
Yeah. Well, and I kept him alive, and he died anyway. So, as is the norm...
the illusion of choice.
You have the illusion of choice in this one, and all roads are going to end to the same ending, but you have some flavor, a flavorful journey with the choices that you make. And
I think that's the whole point in Telltale games, is it's the journey that matters.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I enjoyed it. I don't want to spoil any of the story. I feel like that's about as much as I can say about it. But
that's why I was trying to be as vague as possible.
Yeah. And so if you like The Walking Dead and you like Telltale games and you like Michonne, then you will like The Walking Dead Michonne. I also really liked the opening credits for it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the song was good and the little graphic presentation of it was cool because it mirrored the comics and stuff. So I liked that a lot.
And the thing with the Walking Dead games is, on Xbox at least, they do like a lot of the sales recently have had all three of the older ones, like Michonne, Walking Dead 2, Walking Dead 1, and I think 7 Days to Die, all bundled in together for cheap.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to get those and you think you might, like to play the other three and maybe even try 7 Days to Die, that would be a really good opportunity if they go on sale again and you're on Xbox to snaffle those one up.
Yep. Indeed. So yep, that one was fun.
So the next one I played was, finished playing, was Lego Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Lego game, Star Wars. It was fun being able to play through the Force Awakens stuff, but they also had some other extra missions that fill in gaps here and there. So there's like one for Rathtar hunting with Han and Chewie. So that's how they get the Rathtars onto that ship, which is quite cool.
That's neat.
And then there's one with Phasma, and I was like, wow, I get to play as Phasma, and we saw next to nothing of her in the film.
Yeah.
So, it's a Lego game, it's Star Wars. I can't really say too much more about it. No.
Yeah.
If you like Star Wars and you like Lego games, you can play it, because Lego games play out pretty much the same every time.
Yeah, they do. Lego
you
games...
get the gold bricks, you get the studs, you get the red bricks, you play through on story mode, you unlock some characters, you go back and play through levels to get mini kits that you couldn't get before because you didn't have Chewie on that level, and he's the only one that can blow that door open. Also, Chewie's blaster in it is a one-shot kill, which is amazing. And I like that because it's like, in the film, Han's like, why haven't I fired this before?
Right. Yep. His is beast. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to really talk about like Lego games and Telltale games because they're all very similar, right? Mechanically. And it's just if you like the properties that they're about, then you're probably going to like them.
Obviously, if it's something like Lego Marvel Superheroes, we'll talk a bit more in depth about it because it has its own story.
Right.
But with things that are set off films that the majority of people have seen, like a lot of people have seen Star Wars,
right?
The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
A lot of people have at least seen one of the Avengers films, if not both.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't really need to go into too much detail about those. Mafia 3 we talked a lot about because
we
enjoyed it,
thing.
And it's its own thing, and we can kind of like recommend it.
Right, exactly. Good deal. So Lego. My next thing was State of Decay, the Year 1 Survival Edition. And it was great and super fun. I liked it a lot. I can definitely see why you recommended it. And I'd been wanting to play it for a long time. I just hadn't gotten around to it, but I did get around to it now. And so it came with all the DLC, all the extra content and stuff. And so basically you start off as this one character, Marcus, and it's a zombie apocalypse, and you don't really know why or what's been going on, but you have to survive. And so you kind of go around and you collect stuff, items that you use to fight with and that you use to kind of build up your community. And so you'll find some different survivors along the way. You help people, you build up your community. You can switch characters to some of the ones that you pick up. So you're probably not going to be playing as the same character the whole time, although you do want to play as one character for 50 different little missions in order to get one of the achievements. But other than that, you can switch kind of all the time, which is cool. And different characters have different starting stats. So some will start with being better at shotguns or being better at gathering so they can pick up materials faster. Some of them are just more dexterous. Some of them are better at certain guns and weapons and things like that. Some of them have stupid stats, like they're really good at beer pong, which means nothing. So...
Yep.
You have
worthless dregs of your community.
Yeah, exactly. And so you go around and you collect things like ammunition crates and building construction materials and things like that in order to be able to, and food, in order to beef up your community and try to survive until you get certain story missions to unlock, and then you kind of find out a little bit more about what's going on with the zombies and why they're there. We find out a little bit more about that, which is cool. And then you're just trying to escape that area. And so that's kind of the main story part, is to build up your community and get to the point where you can try to escape the area in which the outbreak has happened. And then there are 2 other DLC modes. One of them is called Lifeline, and the other one is called Breakdown. And
so I want to come in on this one. Part of that Breakdown mode annoyed you so much, it was so funny. You were trying to get a researcher and they just wouldn't turn up.
Oh my god, they just wouldn't give me one. So yeah, Breakdown is this thing where you have different stages, and in each situation you're trying to get an RV and then leave, and then the RV will break down, and then you'll have to set up another camp and start over. And each
but it's the
level
same area as the main game.
Yeah, it's the same area as the main game. And
every time.
And then in each level there are different challenges that you want to try to do. And so for the first level, it's certain things like
build all the buildings
at least once, kill a certain number of zombies with certain weapons, things like that. And then they unlock different ones as you go through the levels.
And then I think it was get all research done.
And there was one to get all the research done, and it takes 4 hours. Real time. 4 real-time hours per research thing, and there's 8 of them without a researcher. So without someone who is skilled at research, you would be spending 8 times 4, 32 hours researching all that stuff, which is a long time. It
does research while you're away from it, so you can conceivably
exactly, put it on to research and then let it research while you go do something else and then turn it back on. But I got lucky because I bought State of Decay on the 360, and then when you bought the Year 1 Survival Edition, you got a special DLC character who's an Indian lady in a pink hoodie that can do research, and you can play as her from the start. And I didn't have this character.
And because I was like, you should have this character. So I was doing research, and I was like, yeah, you had to have bought State of Decay 1 on the 360.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Yep. Nope. So I didn't have her. So I had to wait until level 4 or 5 when...
I think it was 4.
I think it was 4 too. When I got the judge lady, and she was a good researcher. And so I kept her, and I did all the research with her, and it was like an hour and 20 minutes with her. Per research with her. And so that was much less time and much less frustrating. And the only caveat is that your research didn't carry over
in the Xbox One version, but it does in the 360.
Yep.
And whoever did the guide on TA just pasted.
Yep. And didn't check it, and so it was a lie. So you had to do all 8 of the researches in one level instead of so you couldn't research one thing in level 1 and have it count.
And then move on to level 2.
And move on to level 2, and then do a couple more researches during level 2, and then do a couple more during level 3. No, you had to do them all 8 during one level, and so that took a little while, but I did some of the offline, where I would just turn it off and go to work, or turn it off and go to sleep, and it would complete some research for me while I slept. So that was pretty cool.
The good thing about Breakdown, though, is if you missed like the level 1 ones, you could do them in level 2.
Yeah,
it didn't mean
exactly.
that you could only do level 1 in level 1.
Yeah, you just had to get to the level in which it unlocked, and then you could do it from any point after that.
And
so.
the final level you needed to get to for an achievement was level 6. And hitting level 6, you unlock the scientist, who's like a guy in a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
So me.
Yes. So that was pretty fun. I enjoyed Breakdown. I enjoyed it. Except for that researcher that annoyed me. And it annoyed me that the information on the TA walkthrough was incorrect.
Agreed.
That was really irritating. So when people give you walkthroughs and their information is wrong, it's like no good. So
find a new walkthrough.
Exactly.
Or make your own.
Yep. Yes, indeed. So Lifeline it's in a different area from the main story. And yay! And so you're playing as some military folks, and you're trying to extract a bunch of survivors, and some of them are high value targets, some of them are, I guess, like VIPs, some of them are just regular civilians, and some of them are army guys, and then any of the army guys that you pick up join your group, and you can use them to fight and stuff. And so basically you did a lot of setup in the beginning where you went around and you collected stuff for your base and you built things up, and you tried to get some grenade launchers to give them to your crew, and then you took everything away from them but the grenade launcher so that they would use the grenade launcher when you would have little outbreaks where you had to defend your base. And so then they would just kill everything, and it was amazing because if you could get 6 of the characters with a grenade launcher each and they were just boom 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 boom, everything was exploding, and it was very easy.
I did that, and then I bought as many pipe bombs as possible and howling mines. So they were like, oh no, they missed that zombie. Pipe bomb.
Yep.
Pipe bomb. Oh no, that person on the helipad's gonna die. Pipe bomb. They're not dead.
Yay! And yeah, there's no friendly fire damage, so you could blow up a grenade on any zombie that was near any of your characters, and you'd be okay.
I've saved a couple of people by running them over in a car.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they've been in the middle of a horde, and I'm like, nope.
Yep, that was cool. And so the thing that annoyed the crap out of me on Lifeline was, so this game has permadeath in it, which is true for all of the modes. So if a character that you're using dies, then they're dead. If they're away from the settlement on a mission and you're supposed to go help them and you don't go help them, they might die. And some of my characters did that on some of my other playthroughs, but it's not
It was Breakdown that did that to you as well.
Yeah, because my initial character, who was the army guy, Sam...
Sergeant.
Yeah, Sergeant something, Tan. And so he died while he was away during level...
And you didn't notice
level
for
4 or level 5, and then when I was going to extract everybody, I was like, he's dead! No! So, but it's not that big of a deal because most of the people are fairly replaceable, and even if they have certain skills, for the most part, you're going to be able to have somebody else who has the same skill set, or you can build them up, or you can live without them, in most cases. Now, on Lifeline, this is another story, because if your VIP dies, they're dead.
So you have to do another playthrough.
And so I went to get this one guy, and he was in the middle...
Dr. Idiot.
Dr. Idiot. And he was in the middle of an infestation, and so there were just tons of zombies everywhere around him, and I got him out, but then he was like, oh no, we gotta get my daughter too. And I was like, ah. And so I went to go get his daughter, and then he got ripped in half.
Well, because his daughter's in the worst place
imaginable. there were
like...
2 infestations in that area, and
2 ferals and a juggernaut, from what I remember.
Yep, there were, and it was absolutely horrific, and so he got ripped in half and killed.
And it saved.
Because
that was end of the mission.
Yep, because it ended the mission. The mission failed, and it saved. And I was like,
Can I put the next caveat in just to save you from having to say it? The other caveat is those survivors don't turn up in an order, they're random.
Yep, they randomly show up, and so you have to go through. I was like, well, I could get to wave 3 and he could turn up, or I could get to wave 9 and he could turn up, and it was 9. So he was the very last
our luck.
one.
Our luck, it's always the last one.
So that was another 6 hours of my life that I spent doing that I really didn't want to. And not that it wasn't fun, and I really enjoyed the game, but that was the last thing that I was doing, and I was ready to be done with it. And then I had to do 6 hours of waiting for this idiot to turn back up. But I went in there with a grenade launcher and 30 grenades and a bunch of Molotovs. It was like Rambo up in that joint when I went back to get him that time.
Yeah, because those Molotovs are amazing.
They
clearing
really
out
are.
The little guys.
They really are. And so I just destroyed everything in there that second time, and it was a little bit of revenge, and got it and got my completion. So
I'm just imagining you the last juggernauts left about to charge, and you're throwing a grenade over your shoulder, and cool guys don't look at explosions, and it just blows his head off.
Put on my sunglasses. Yeah. So, State of Decay.
And they're cowering, and you're like, come on, let's go.
Let's go. So, yeah, State of Decay was fun. I had a couple of mishaps on some of the RNG, but overall, it was a really fun survival game, and I'm looking forward to the second one.
And the second one has co-op.
Yes, which is going to be even more fun, which means you get to see an Iron Mouse co-op adventure.
Yeah, we're calling it now.
With State of Decay.
It's going to be recorded.
It will be.
It's going to have both of our point of views.
Yep. And hopefully we can both open our doors on either side. And we can plow through zombies. Because that's going to be so fun. I'm excited.
And it'll be my door fell off. Sadness.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Nah, that game... Oh, so looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You have to avenge me when I get torn in half by a juggernaut.
Right. Well, hopefully there's not going to be any of that. We're gonna beast. But we'll see.
I always remember in Breakdown, I was basically a psychopath, and would just if I got someone that was useless, I kept my population as small as possible to be able to get certain areas. So it was 8 or 12 or 10. I would run them into hordes of zombies and get them killed, and then wait for someone useful to turn up.
Yeah.
It's just you die now.
Oh man.
I got Ed and immediately blew him to bits.
Yeah. Oh boy.
He's so useless.
All right. So, next for you was
Doom. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
If you want to do your next one.
Sure. Are you finished with games?
I think so.
Did you talk about The Witcher?
I don't need to talk about The Witcher. I've talked about it before.
Okay. Yeah. So you played through The Witcher again. Yay! It was just as good as the first time. Yay!
Except the achievements are a little bit more buggy in the Game of the Year edition for some reason.
That's annoying.
Yeah, basically the next one I have is Doom because we talked about we talked about everything else. We talked about Lego Marvel, I Am Alive, the card games, Just Cause I haven't really played much of, Earthlock I haven't played much of, 2 lots of DLCs for Minecraft, story mode,
nice.
Sonic. So yeah.
Good deal.
But the next game you're going to talk about, hopefully, is one that I can talk about with you.
Well, the next games that I was going to talk about were the DLCs for Gears of War 4 and Resident Evil 7. So
never mind.
So I don't think you can talk about either of those things because you haven't played them. But I mean, I'm not going to talk much about them. I'm just going to say that they had the Rise of the Horde DLC for Gears of War 4, which made it infinitely more annoying because they added this mode called Iron Man mode, which was one life.
Named after me.
Yes, it was named after you. And so basically you have to go through the whole game on hardcore in one life. And if you die, or your co-op partner dies, back to the beginning.
Of the game?
Of the game. You could use a little bit. There was an exploit that you could use where you can, if you're quick enough, you can delete your campaign from the box and then re-download it from the cloud, and you'll be back at your last checkpoint or a few checkpoints before, but that saves you a little bit of time. I had to use that a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times throughout the thing, because there was one point where my partner died. There was one point where I think someone showed up, like, it was a very weird moment. So an AI spawned where they shouldn't have spawned, and it was right behind me, and they chainsawed me. So there was no getting out of that one. And so, yeah. But just the amount of things, and then we had to do it another time because of one of those stupid lightning sections where you insta-fail if you touch any of the little sparkage from the lightning. And so I hate it when things are not set up for one life throughout the whole game.
Especially with insta-death areas. Yeah. It just makes it far too tedious.
It is. It's just very tedious. It's stressful, and the game is too long for that. You know, like these old retro games where you went through in one life are fine because it takes you 45 minutes to play the game. You know, it's not 6 hours of game that you're playing through. Where if you do get an insta kill, an insta death, you know, on hour 5.5, you have to go back and do 5.5 hours. It's just...
Or you fail at hour 2 because you're rushing to get back to 5.5.
Right, exactly. And so, I don't know. I do not approve of modes like that, and so I have no problem with advertising and endorsing someone using an exploit to get through it. I have no issue with doing that because it's not fun. It's not fun. And it's not mechanically set up well. So anyway, Iron Man mode, that's cool. Got that done. And then they had this other higher difficulty than Insane called Inconceivable, where you just die very quickly.
If someone looks at you funny, you die. If
someone looks at you funny, you die. So that, again, it just isn't fun. But got through that. And then they added...
So basically, this DLC should be called Tedium.
Yep.
And if you have the staying power to get through
pretty much. It's just adding stuff that's just not fun and lazy. It's lazy programming.
It should have been called the Iron Resolve DLC.
The Iron Resolve, that's true. So, in addition to that, they added these achievements for the Horde mode, where you have to max out all of your cards in a certain class. And then they added these legendary cards for each class, so that you now have at least two of them for every class, and then some of the blues as well. And so
So blue's the rare ones?
Yeah, blues are the
so
rare
like
ones.
The next tier down.
So there's green that are the commons, blues that are the rares, and purples, which are, I think, legendaries or epics, one or the other. And then they have a higher tier than that, not for the horde cards, but for some of the skins. They have an orange that's like a...
Uber God mode.
It's either epic or legendary, I don't know. Anyway, so they added some purples, and so those are very rare to unlock in packs, and it's random whether you get them or not. And then they cost a ton of scrap, 600 scrap to build up more iterations of them, and you need 40 of each card to fully level it up to 6.
And then you have to get the first one randomly.
And you have to get the first one randomly. So you can't just build them. You can't just say, okay, well, this might take a long time, but I'll just build them all if I have to. No, you have to wait on the RNG to get the first one in order to do it. Which, I mean, I have all of the cards now. I just have to get enough scrap and grind and grind and grind and grind and grind to get enough scrap to make them.
I remember, like, the first 25 packs you got, you didn't get any of use.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly my beef with breach mode on Deus Ex.
Yeah.
Those damn, like, expansion pack things that you have to get 6 of.
Yep.
So I purposely nicked money from one mission to not have to do it. 37 packs and I got 1.
Yeah. It's stupid. It's stupid, but I mean, I have them all now. I still needed to do some grinding in order to get seriously, in order to get my 10 re-ups. And so,
thankfully, you hadn't done the re-ups first.
Because I know some folks who had already gotten seriously and who'd already re-upped 10 times, and then they had to go back and grind again to get the cards and to get the scrap that they needed to be able to build the cards. And it's just stupid how it's painful, and it's dumb how they extended that to such a great amount. And I'm going to say it's nothing but pure greed, because all they wanted was to encourage people.
I just said agreed without realizing.
You're punny. All they wanted was to encourage people to buy their little horde booster packs. And
because they have a higher chance of giving you those cards. No guarantee.
No guarantee, but it's a higher chance. So they made a new pack that has 10 random cards and some guaranteed rarity ones. And so, but you don't know.
At least one rare.
Yeah, or it might have been at least two. At least 2 of the purples.
What do you mean 2 legend? Yeah, 2 legendaries.
At least 2 purples in the pack, but you don't know which purples they are, so they could be useless.
They could be dupes.
They could be ones that you didn't need. And I mean, that's still okay, because you can scrap the purples and they give you 150 scrap. So that's not terrible, but though it's like $10.
It's a false economy, and you've paid real money.
Yeah, you've paid real money in order to get that. It's
I hate this model of modern gaming where they make you buy the game and then you either have to spend the rest of your existence playing it, or at least 200 to 300 hours and get lucky, or spend more money so that they can make you play the game the way they want you to play it and kind of direct you towards their microtransactions. It makes me fed up that this is the kind of gaming we're getting from certain developers. And it puts me off buying those games. It's like the next Deus Ex. I'm like, am I going to play it on my main and do all the breach mode rubbish again if they put that in, or will I just play it on an alt? Just so I can not have my OCD tell me I have to go out and play the game for another 300-400 hours.
Yeah. I don't know. And I mean, it's irritating. I don't mind them having microtransactions, Microtransactions are fine. It's when they design some of the modes and the achievements so that it kind of tries to force you into those microtransactions.
That's exactly
that I
my
hate.
point.
So, like, the Destiny microtransactions, no problem. Those are great. They're cosmetic. You know, you can get
praise the sun.
Yeah, you can buy them if you want to. Fine. Halo 5 microtransactions. Those are fine. They help you out in the multiplayer, but you don't necessarily need them, and there's no achievements that are tied to those cards. So, you know, you can participate in buying those if you want to, but it's in no way, shape, or form forced. And Gears of War 4 is the exact opposite. It really tries to force you into buying some of those booster packs, because otherwise it's either you spend a bunch of your money or you spend a bunch of your time. And you're going to spend a bunch of your time anyway. So if you're going to go for seriously, so might as well just spend more time. And they're not getting any more.
And FIFA did exactly the same in
cash.
the one Ultimate Team I played.
Yep. Yikes. So anyway, that was the Gears of War 4 DLC. The Resident Evil 7 DLC was actually pretty fun. I'm going to venture to say that tentatively. There were a bunch of bonus modes, and, you know, a couple of them had me, you know, a little bit frustrated with them while I was trying to figure out what I needed to do. But once I had a solid strategy for some of those modes, I mean, even like the nightmare mode where you had to survive in the basement and you had to use those grinders and get the scrap to build turrets and things and buy weapons and ammunition to kill the enemies and survive a certain number of waves. Even that one was kind of tricky before I figured out exactly what I needed to do and had unlocked some things. The 21 mode, where you're playing a deranged version of blackjack, which has like special cards and you use your fingers as chips instead of...
I'm now waving my finger in front of the camera on Skype.
You use your fingers to bet with, so if you lose, they chop off fingers, and, you know, so you only have 5 of them. And then it also had another mode to it where it electrocuted you, so you had 10 voltages that you could go through, and if you got to the highest one, you'd die. So those different things, they could be tricky. They could definitely be tricky. They had another thing where it was Jack's 55th birthday, and you had to go around, and this one was really arcadey, and I actually really liked it. But a couple of the levels were kind of difficult trying to figure out how to S rank them. But you go around and you collect food, and you're trying to feed Jack a bunch of food or garbage. Garbage with sugar in it.
I still think it's garbage.
Yeah, garbage with sugar in it gave you the Baker Family Special, which was the highest food points that you could get, which is hilarious. So there was that mode. Then you had the Ethan Must Die mode, which was playing through a certain portion of the level with RNG weapons and items, and then beating the most difficult boss at the end. But again, like I said, once I figured out strategies for those things, usually they weren't that bad, and I found some of them kind of fun. Like, I really did enjoy the Jack's birthday party thing.
You did.
I did. I thought that was fun. I enjoyed the card game because I like card games, and I destroyed that opponent, and it was amazing. And
they lost their fingers.
and I lost a couple of fingers. I did.
No, and they lost their fingers.
Well, they lost their fingers repeatedly, and it was good. And, you know, I enjoyed it. And then it had a couple of other little more puzzle-based modes, like the bedroom, where you're trying to escape the bedroom and you have to solve some puzzles. And then there was one called Daughters that was sort of a prequel, and it showed how the Baker family became infected. And cool. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, and you're playing as the daughter Zoe, which was neat. And so I actually overall enjoyed the DLC for Resident Evil 7, and most of my guides have gone up for that. I have a few more that I need to do from the second banned footage volume 2, but those will be going up on the channel, and hopefully people will enjoy that. I know that there are some folks who've been waiting for me to play that, and I've been waiting to play it too. It's just taken a long time to get through Prey, and that held me up. But we are back on track now and done with that DLC. Victory! And so the next thing that I played was also Doom. And so we can chat about Doom a little bit, because I've played through the story and you haven't.
I haven't. I kind of know what happens in the story.
Yeah.
Because I think I watched some stuff a little while ago.
Yeah.
So
it's
fine.
I mean, basically you're a space marine, and they have been doing some research on energy from hell and opened these little hell portals, and then there are these demons that are taking over the station on, I think you're on Mars.
It's Mars, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's always Mars.
Yeah. And so I've never played a Doom game before, so I don't know.
I've never played a Doom game before, but I know enough about sort of like the premise of Doom that it's Mars.
Yeah. So you're trying to kill all the demons and end the little invasion, and so basically you just shoot things, and it's awesome.
It's a gore fest.
And it's almost like cartoony violence, like levels of violence. So I think you don't like a lot of gore, but this doesn't bother you as much.
This will be fine.
This doesn't bother you as much because it's over the top.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it's not creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's creepy gore I don't like Evil Within and Resident Evil, like Decay stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't care for that. Because like Resident Evil Revelations 2, there wasn't really that much gore in it.
No, there really wasn't.
The enemies weren't really squick for me.
Right.
Like the Revenants and stuff were fine. And then, like, the kind of decayed individuals in Barry's episode were fine.
Yeah.
They were just a bit dry and crispy.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't played the campaign yet because we've been working our way through the multiplayer, and I've been playing Mafia 3, and I wanted to get the story done in that first before I started the story in Doom.
Right. And so,
or campaign in Doom.
And so I've completed the campaign of Doom, and we're both well on our way to completing the.
You have one achievement.
I know. We're both on our way to completing the multiplayer. I was able to take advantage of Double XP Weekend with some sessions, and
I didn't because I don't know, I didn't feel like it, and the sessions weren't really on times that were convenient for me. But I did manage to get 2 echelons, which is their prestige, done.
Yeah, because their new patch, their new title update, the 6.66 title update, made it so that
it changed all the unlocks, didn't it?
It changed some of the unlocks, and so you now have to get to echelon 8 in order to
complete
a challenge in order to get the last piece of armor that you need for an achievement. And before you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to re-up at all. You didn't need a prestige at all.
No, you literally just bought the DLC and then the armor would be available for you.
Right.
But it's because they made the DLCs free.
Yes.
So they're effectively title updates that they made it so you have to earn them now.
Right. Yep. And so, unfortunately, I had already bought the DLC before they made it free.
And I had the DLC included in mine. It was a special pack from Amazon that was like the Game of the Year. Well, not effectively the Game of the Year edition. Sorry, it was the Game and the Season Pass, which I always think of as like the gold version.
Right, yeah. So, in any case, we had paid for it, but we still had to work
Didn't get
for
around
it.
to it.
We still had to work for those achievements, which is...
Yeah, to be honest, I got Doom at a reasonable enough price that I'm not too
I'm not
annoyed about it.
I'm not too annoyed either, but it would have been nice to not have to play the multiplayer as much as we will. But it's okay. it's pretty fun. The multiplayer's pretty fun.
I'm more grumpy than you are about
You
it.
are, because you didn't get as much done for the double XP as I did.
I'm fine now. I was just having a bad week.
Yeah, it's okay. So we're working our way through that. I think it's good. I love the mechanics. I like the little rock music that they play when you're trying to kill a big area of enemies, and it's like dun, 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 and you're just chainsawing things, and yeah.
I don't like the jump.
No.
Not in the multiplayer. Because sometimes you're trying to like jump up ledges and he doesn't always ledge grab, he just like jumps.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, and then you get shot in the bum with a double-barreled shotgun.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the multiplayer is a little bit laggy sometimes.
It is, and there's a few certain weapons that everybody uses. So there's like that energy ball firing thing that like rapidly fires them.
Yeah.
And the double-barreled shotgun and the minigun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'd say it's fairly well balanced with the weapons.
It's fairly well balanced. I mean, I use the minigun because I like it.
Yeah.
And I can kill things.
Yep. And I mostly use the combat shotgun, and it's fine. So, yeah. I like it, like the mechanics, and it's nice to play something that's just like kill things, you know? Like, it has a story, and the story isn't terrible, but it's basically, you know...
It's not trying too hard. It's just like, this
is
is Doom. Here's the BFG. Enjoy.
Yeah, this is Doom. Here's enemies. Here's a bunch of weapons that you can use to murder them in various ways. Go have fun.
Here's also a difficulty setting that will get you killed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my God. There's this thing called Ultra Nightmare Mode that you unlock after you finish Chapter 6. And it's... brutal.
Evil?
It's brutal. So it's you die very, very quickly, and it's one life per level. So I think after you complete a level, then that progress is saved, and then you have to do the next level, but you have to get through each level without dying in order to progress. And so thankfully you don't have to do the entire game in that mode. You only have to get through the first level, which was hard enough to accomplish.
People are like, if you're going for this, use speedrun strats.
Yeah.
To try and get through.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that I necessarily used speed. I don't think, because you can't really run past. You can run past a couple of encounters, but a lot of it you can't really run past and be safe.
I'm gonna try.
Well, you see how that goes. So, we'll see. I mean, you can't end the level until you've killed everything in that last area, I don't think. So, you have to clear some areas or you can't progress, basically.
Cool.
So, in any case, that's done for me. You still have that fun to come up.
Oh, I'll be fine.
To come up, and you will be fine. And it wasn't that bad.
I'm not being arrogant. It's just I have hours to throw at it.
No, sure. And I think the level itself only takes about 15 minutes or something like that when you're when you're doing it. And I think it only took me maybe like an hour of trying before I got it. It wasn't.
We were messaging, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm done now."
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't
an
bad. Hour or two.
It wasn't bad.
You're like, this is so stupid.
It was. It is so stupid. It is so stupid when you get to the end and one of those little imps is hiding and you can't find him, and then he hits you with his little ball of death, and then you die, and then you have to do it over again. Anyway, it's Doom, it's fun, it's chainsaws, it's BFGs, it's murdering things to
so that's another like game we'll be playing this month to get done.
Yep, we'll be finishing that up this month, which is cool. Is that your last thing?
Yeah, that's it.
And so I played more games than you. It's amazing.
I don't think you have. I think it's just the fact that like Sonic, 4 games I clubbed together.
That's true.
And then Minecraft was 2. So
yeah, gotcha. So my last thing that I have done and just finished is Contrast, and I did it twice.
That's the one I was meaning.
Yeah.
Because I did it earlier in the year, but I couldn't really talk about it because you haven't played it.
Right, yeah. And so it's a little arcade title, and then they also released it on the One, and I had both because I wanted it for the One, but it went on sale on the 360, so I bought it on the 360.
We both bought it at the same time.
And then it went on sale on the One, and so I bought it again on the One. And so I did it twice. And it was fun. It's a little like 2-3 hour game that's not too challenging in terms of completing it, but I thought it had a really interesting art style, an interesting story.
It's like sort of noir kind of art style.
Yeah.
And the game, the name of the game is the game. It's like the contrast between black and white. You use that to traverse the world. Yeah. So you play as this character that can go between the shadow world and our world. Right.
And it's funny because all of the characters in the game, except for the little girl that you interact with and you, look like shadows.
Well, it's effectively their shadow. You never see them, you only ever see their shadow.
Right, because you are... I think the idea is that you're a person who's not really in this world.
No, you're not. You're in the shadow world.
You're in the shadow world, but you can kind of go back and forth between, which is cool. And then you solve puzzles by going in and out of little shadow areas and stuff like that.
So effectively, when you go into a wall, you're stepping into the light world and not the shadow world.
Yeah.
So you're in their world while you're in a wall running across a shadow. Yeah. And then when you come back out, you're in the shadow world again.
Right. Yeah. And then the only like weird thing though is that why can you see the little girl as a little girl? And
maybe because she's in the shadow world as well. Like she's in both realms at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, so the mechanics are interesting with the solving of the puzzles by going in and out of the shadows and the different...
You kind of unlock different abilities as you go on, so you can like boost jump to get across bigger gaps, or go in and out of the shadows to get past something that, like in the shadow realm, would be blocking you, so you can jump past it in the real world and then hop back into the shadow.
Yep. So, I don't know, and it had a neat little story, I thought. And it was fun in terms of puzzle solving and stuff like that. And not super long. Yeah, because
there's some things you can interact with that, like, there's like a music stand you can interact with and it'll display a little extra bit of the story for you. Like there's a bit with the lady and it's singing and then you can jump on her to get a collectible.
Yeah.
There's also a bit, like, I think midway through one of the episodes that it kind of... if you stand in one place too long, the story takes a different turn. It fails. But I thought it was interesting.
Huh. That is interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
In Act 2, you mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So if you stand in one place too long, you don't stop something from happening.
Right. No, that's the end of Act 1. But yeah, I know what part you're talking about. And so that's cool, because you had to stand there for a little while for an achievement. But you're meaning if you stand there even longer, it'll just fail?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. So yeah, we don't want to spoil it, so we're not going to tell you. So this is all...
We're not going to, because effectively this game is its story.
Yeah, this game, it is the story, yeah, pretty much. It's got some fun mechanics and some fun puzzle solving and whatnot, but the story is very important. So
it's basically a glorified point and click puzzle adventure, I guess.
Pretty much. And so it's fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good little game, and it goes on sale fairly regularly, I would say. And
at least the 360 does.
And so if it goes on sale and you guys are interested in picking that up, I would say go for it. It was fun.
See, if we'd have played that before, I would have suggested that one as one of our hidden gems.
Yeah. Very cool. Yep. And
cool.
And it's also on the One, so you know.
Yeah, whichever platform.
whichever platform, it plays the same on both. So, cool. So that's been our past couple of months. And we have some plans for this month, but the fall is going to be absolute madness in terms of coverage for the channel and a bunch of games coming out. And even for me,
not really covering stuff, just playing what's coming out.
Yeah. It's because,
like, I want to get Doom, Mafia 3, Just Cause 3 done by the end of the month, so that I can clear enough space on my hard drive for the games that are coming out end of August, September, and on into October, November, because there's, like, the Life is Strange prequel, the Destiny, which will be coming out on the we're getting on the PlayStation.
Right, yeah.
And then after that, it's Dishonored, Death of the Outsider.
Yep.
October is Middle-earth: Shadow of War and
Assassin's Creed
Origins. And there was something in November as well.
Yeah, November is Star Wars Battlefront 2,
and that'll be on the PlayStation.
Yeah, which we'll get on the PlayStation. And then in addition to those things, well, I probably won't get Shadow of War right away because I'm going to be playing The Evil Within 2, and that comes out 2 days later.
That's where our gaming will differ.
Yeah, so that'll be different for me. And then I'm also going to get Uncharted: The Lost Legacy this month. But otherwise, our gaming is going to look very similar here for the fall.
Well, we intend to play Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2 together.
Yeah, we do.
There'll definitely be, and I guess we can announce it, there'll definitely be a co-op let's play of us playing through Destiny 2's story.
Yes.
And we can always, maybe put an odd multiplayer up in the background.
Some Crucible and some raids, some strikes, some random messing about whenever we want. Yeah, because that'll be a game that we'll play for a while, most likely. So
yeah, if Destiny 1 is anything to go by with me.
Yeah.
That's also why I want to get some games done this month, because I will probably get trapped in Destiny 2.
Yeah. Yep. So it's gonna be quite a fall. And quite a rest of
but
August.
I actually have money to buy games this year.
I know, because you have a job, which is good.
Yep, end of this month I'll have been in that job a year.
Nice.
And that's the longest job I've ever had, which is saying something considering I'm 28.
Yeah. But, it's cool. And I've just hit 3 years at my job, which is going steady and strong and doing well.
3 years?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Time passes. So yeah. So we're gonna definitely have a busy fall. Definitely a lot of stuff coming up. Hope that you guys enjoyed this and maybe got some ideas for some games to play during the last of the...
Or games not to play.
Games not to play during the last of the slow months here before the fall really hits hard. And
also let us know in the comments what you're looking forward to in the fall.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna be a fun end to the year. So.
And then there's plenty of other stuff that's announced for early next year as well, like State of Decay 2 and Far Cry 5.
Yep. It's gonna be pretty awesome. The outlook for games, I think, is looking good to me anyway.
And I would agree.
So.
Especially having dual consoles.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, having both consoles really does open up your ability to play different things, because it's like we're going to play the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. We have stuff like Detroit to look forward to now that we have
God of War
PS4.
4.
Yeah, now that we have PS4s. I've got Uncharted coming up that's I'm looking forward to playing as Chloe and Nadine. And so, it's nice to have that other console, because then if there's not something that's coming up that's an exclusive or that you can play on one console, you have stuff on the other one. And so it's just nice. If you can have both, it's a very, very nice thing.
Yeah, we are very privileged.
We are. Indeed.
To live in such times.
We are indeed. All right. So thanks for listening to us ramble madly as we do. And we will see you in the next one.
In the next one.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.